Welcome to today's information session for our students and parents. I'm Carol Branson. I'm the Vice President for Marketing and Communications. And today I'm joined by a panel of my colleagues. So I have Deborah Thompson. She's Vice President, Enrollment Management. I have Laura Stevenson Dumas, Vice President, Chief of Staff. And I have Don Garby, Assistant Director of Housing Operations. And joining us now is Everett Malcolm, and he's the Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. And so we're so glad that you took the time to join us today. We have a short agenda. First, we're going to discuss the Ponce and room assignments. Second, we're going to talk about some of the updates that are happening around the college. And during this time, we've opened up the Q&A button, and so that's at the bottom of your screen. And so as we're talking, if you have questions or if you're coming into this with questions, feel free to go ahead and type your question into that button at the bottom. And when we get to the end of our short agenda, we'll begin to answer those questions for you. So with that, let's get started. Laura, let's start with you. So there's a lot of work that's being done around campus and the residence halls. And so can you share a little bit about that work?
Sure. So this summer we have embarked on a few ambitious projects, but two of them being in Lewis House and Ponce Hall. So in Lewis, what we actually have done is we worked on new cabinets in the bathrooms, new counters, new sinks, new cabinets. Oh, it looks like we might be, yep, here we go. As well as, and what you're seeing here is a community kitchen. So we're updating the lounge spaces. There's 3 floors of lounge spaces in Lewis that haven't been updated since the building was built back 30 plus years ago. And so we have designated spaces now. So on the 3rd floor, you'll have a communal kitchen, which is one of the first on our campus for our residential students. So we're really excited about that. And then on the 2nd floor, you sort of have, you sort of have this, that's what you see here, sort of a dedicated entertainment lounge space, if you will. And then in the back, you'll have designated study spaces, which I think is really important because we did not have that in Lewis, where roommates would be able to leave their room and find like a quiet space to study. And then on the 1st floor, you're just going to have more of sort of a smaller communal lounge. That's sort of the pass through where a lot of people come and go and just hang out. We'll also, as I mentioned, the cabinets in the bathroom. So we did new surfaces, new sinks, new cabinets. The bathrooms in Lewis prior to this did not have cabinetry. So we're excited to be able to bring that feature into Lewis this summer. In Ponce, what we've actually done, and apologize, I went out of order, my fault, the mezzanine, which has been the lounge space on the 1st floor of Ponce, hasn't really been that much of a focal point. It's been a little neglected, if I dare say so. And it is such a beautiful historic space. And so what we've done this summer, we've redone the flooring. In fact, if you're on campus today, it's a little loud as they redo some of the wood flooring, and then we'll be laying the carpet early next week. And then in just a few weeks, the furniture will arrive. And so what you see here are sort of renderings of what that furniture is going to look like. We've created designated spaces in the mezzanine where you can have sort of your hangout space, your lounge space. You've got the couches, you've got the tables and chairs, and it really will allow all of our residents to come together in this flagship building, to be together and to enjoy that historical elegance. And then within the floors, this was actually a very ambitious project just because of the sheer magnitude, but we redid all of the flooring. We did the painting, we did new lighting. And so here you can see just a sample of one of our rooms where we've redone the color scheme. We've got the white walls, the brown trim, which is a little bit more in line with some of the historical elements. And then in the hallway, you'll see we changed the lighting. We got rid of the fluorescent lighting. And we added LED, and we continued that paint scheme. We did new flooring, and we removed the old water fountains. We have water bottle filling stations in all of our residence halls. now, and that's going to be a great benefit. Not pictured just because it's still being worked on are some other lounge spaces that have been created throughout the building, where you can have some small study spaces and some small gathering spaces on the various floors. So that's what we've been doing over the summer in the residence halls.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to kind of watch all of the work that's being done and how everything is just kind of it's transforming the campus. And so it's been really exciting. So Deborah, that leads us to you. And so there was an event, right, that disrupted all of this renovation. I mean, we were like almost to the finish line. And then we had an event that kind of disrupted that in the Ponce. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that event and what happened?
So, as with many renovation projects, something unexpected happened, and we had a water leak, which did damage to all those beautiful renovations that Laura was just showing you, and in the residence hall area. And we had been planning this renovation project, and we had planned it to the last detail, to the point that we had ordered our supplies in December. The supplies arrived in May, and then this event unfortunately occurred. And we have exhausted every opportunity to try to get all the supplies we would need to repair the damage that was done. But given the marketplace that we're in right now with the supply chain, that is just not possible. So we are going to go back in and do the renovations. And unfortunately, that is going to displace some students in the Ponce. And it's a historic building, so we have to approach that work with great care.
Thank you. And Laura, so you're the one who's actually been working really closely with the contractors through the, from figuring out the plans, ordering all of the materials, and then, working to keep them on track over the summer. So can you provide some insights into why Ponce will be closed for the entire academic year? I know we've received a couple questions about that.
Yeah, so I think Deborah really hit the number one reason, and that's the supplies. It's been, when we started thinking about how early we had to place our orders for this summer's project just to be able to be completed by August. I mean, we were picking out furniture, we were picking out paint, colors, lighting, all the way back in the winter. And it was, if we don't make a decision now, we're not going to finish by August. I actually had a conversation today with the contractors, and they were like, if we, it sounds like we have a long time, but we don't. We need to start. And then when we started thinking about the disruption that the repair was going to have on students that were in the unaffected rooms on East, it was not going to be a good living experience because of the noise, the construction having to start at 7 a.m. 7 days a week just to be able to be finished on time. So we did not want to put our students through that. We really value the quality of life experience for our residential students, and it just was going to be untenable for them. Trust me, as somebody who has been working in Ponce all summer, it can be deafening at times. And if they're right around your area, and considering it was, the number of rooms that it was all up and down the floors, nobody in East was really going to be spared. So we just had to make that decision, as difficult as it was.
It's true. I was over in the rotunda earlier, and the sound was quite loud. So Everett, let's move over to you. So we've had the water leak, and that means that this domino effect kind of starts to happen, and the subsequent closure. So once we realized that the East Wing was going to be closed for the entire academic year, you and your team kind of had to go back to the drawing board and start making some adjustments on room assignments. And so I know that a lot of the people who are here joining us today are probably particularly interested in learning about these moves. And so can you share where students who are originally assigned to Ponce East are moving, and then any kind of related impacts that come from that move?
I sure can, and thank you, Carol. The impact of the actual West Wing relates to approximately 283 students that we would have to reassign somewhere else on campus. And our team in Res Life, led by Don Garby, handpicked rooms that we knew were sizable enough that we could actually add another student to that room without drastically disrupting, the quality of the space, the interaction, the camaraderie. And in the FEC towers A, B, and C, we identified 123 spaces where we could actually relocate students comfortably by adding an additional person. And then that would be followed by Lewis Hall, and we were able to accommodate 82 additional students into Lewis, followed by the West Wing of Ponce. We were able to identify 14 rooms there that we could add additional beds to. And then the remaining students would be then housed in the Sebastian Hotel that we are leasing an entire south tower of that hotel. That tower is totally separated from the north tower, so there's no residents of either tower interfacing with each other. And the Sebastian Hotel will only house upper class students. Our goal was to find space within the core of campus to accommodate all first year students. And we're also adding a shuttle bus service to that. It'll begin at 7:15 in the morning and run through 6 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays will be 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And hours after that will be handled by our security team as they normally do. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, thank you, Everett. And so if you saw the images that popped up, that was in FEC, is that correct? And that was a
Yes.
on there. So it looked really good. Don, let's move on to you, because I think when our students and families are hearing about the changes to their room assignments, the next question is always roommate assignments. And so some of these roommate assignments have been modified, right? So when they move rooms, they move roommates. And so can you share some insights into this process?
Yeah, of course. And so I never want to have to change roommates after we've already assigned them. We moved up our timeline this year to release them earlier so that people have the opportunity to connect with them and to build that relationship through the summer. And unfortunately, during this time, some roommates are going to be split up. There are very few areas in which I was able to keep roommates together, and I've done my best to identify those spaces, but there are some spaces where I only could increase the occupancy by one. And so what I've done in the meantime is, for example, Lewis, if two people were assigned a room at Ponce, I was able to get one in one room and the other in the adjoining suite. And so they'll still have that natural connection of sharing a bathroom, of being suite mates. And then in the FEC, if they were together, I kept them within the same hall. The bathrooms are a little different there, where we don't have suited bathrooms. So that way, we may not be living together, we may not have a sharing a bathroom, but we do have the same hall that we'll be living on, which I think will help build that community in the hall that they're now living in. With all of this is a great opportunity for them to now expand their support network of students. So now they'll have new roommates that they'll be able to build these bonds with. I am working on housing assignments and getting those out from my Flagler on next Wednesday, so that we will still have about 3 weeks to reconnect with your previous roommates, but also your new roommates as well, and start to expand your social network, your support system here at Flagler, and find the ways in which you can still have that community with your previous roommates. And so I have done my best on that. I will be transparent. I'm not able to get every roommate together. But if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to sit and chat and discuss the specifics of what it looks like moving forward within the for students.
All right, we had just a little bit of trouble hearing you all the time, Don, but I think that what you were saying is at the end there, when I was struggling to hear a little bit, that if people had specific questions or wanted to see things, they could reach out to you. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Yes, all right, great. Deborah, we're gonna move back over to you. And so now that students have received the message that they are going to be switching rooms or getting a new roommate and things like this, we've internally been talking about the impact of that, and we've come up with a few things to perks, for lack of a better word, that maybe you can share a little more insights into that with our families today.
Well, we're definitely very disappointed that this is a situation that we're working with, but we really want to acknowledge that families are being flexible and understanding, and students are willing to help us provide them with the best living experience that we can. So we have been looking at some perks, I guess, for lack of a better word, that we could offer to the students who are accommodating this situation. And one of those is to provide some type of priority housing in some form for next year. We know that there are people who dream of living in the Ponce. And so we want to see what we can do about making that happen. And then the second thing that we would like to provide, because we know that this has added a level of stress that folks weren't anticipating dealing with. So for next semester, when our students are beginning to register for their spring classes, we want to give our students who have dealt with this situation priority in registering for their spring classes, just as a way of saying, we know you've had to navigate some concerns that you hadn't anticipated, and we want to make one thing just a little less stressful for you.
Great, thank you. So we've chatted all about, the changing of the rooms and the roommates, but we still really believe that it's going to be a phenomenal experience for our students, that they're going to come to campus, and that is going to be the Flagler experience that they were hoping for. And so with that, Everett, your team's been working, to really build out that student experience. And so maybe you could share some insights into like what to, build excitement for as we're looking to come to campus here in just a few weeks.
I'd be happy to. A major event that we bring to campus every year is an event called Saints After Dark. And that event is a monthly event. It's held in the Student Center. It's held on a Friday evening. Every month has a different theme, and it's designed to help keep students engaged and keep them on campus over the weekend versus making a mass exodus and going somewhere else for the weekend. We want them here. We want them engaged. We want them interacting with fellow saints. And that's a fun activity that happens every semester, every month. We're also planning a field trip to Tampa this fall to see and interact with the manatees. That'll be a fun activity for our students. There's also a trip to Disney scheduled for all the incoming students. We have monthly hikes to the state parks. We have golfing events to Topgolf. sporting events to Jaguar games and other professional events. And then we have some of our traditional events, the Harry Potter Week that has 9 theme events associated with it. And last year we had record attendance in over 2,000 students interacting in 9 themed events. We even had a themed dance ball for the first time ever and had over 300 students attend that event. And then last year we hosted our first off-campus concert at the AMP, and that event had sold out capacity. We repeated that event in the spring, and all the survey information that we've received back from students is they want concert events like that to happen each and every semester. And our teams in student engagement are prepared to make that happen. Thanks, Carol.
Yeah, thanks, Everett. So we're about to enter into our Q&A portion. I see a number of questions here. So you have just a few more minutes to get those questions in. And while you put in those last minute questions, we'll move over to Laura and just, as part of this excitement, we have some really, innovative, transformative kind of spaces that are going to be opening up on campus. And maybe you can talk about those because, they're just as much a part of the student experience.
Definitely, Carol. And I do just want a quick housekeeping note. If you do want your question addressed during this, it's best if you enter it in the Q&A and not the chat, because then Carol has a record of the questions that are asked. And if we don't get around to everything, we'll be able to reach out to people. So first of all, yes, as Carol noted, the Flagler experience is everything. It's what's happening in the classroom, outside the classroom. It's even what's happening off campus when our students get together and they go to the amphitheater, they go down to St. George Street, they work with their faculty to take the amazing trips and immerse themselves into the community. But some of the things that we've been working on this summer that we're really excited to unveil when everybody comes back. We'll start with the Brad and Mandy Krupe Brown Innovation Center. It's going to be called BIC for short. And that's going to be in the Student Center on the first floor, or a portion of the Student Center. And this is going to be a collaborative space for students. So groups, the clubs, the classes, the individual students that really want to come together and come up with great ideas, work sometimes with the community or just work amongst themselves to innovate, collaborate, create. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun, 3D printers and just sort of a space where they can come together that's a little larger than maybe some of the meeting rooms. We have a STEAM, Flagler College STEAM Club, and they're always coming up with amazing things. I just got the Flagler magazine today. They created a robot to help the Coastal Environmental Science program. So this is the type of exciting stuff that can happen at the BIC. We'll also have the Deegan Archaeology Lab. That is going to be in the pots, kind of beneath the dining hall. And this is going to be amazing. We've had a small space on campus for the archaeology program, very small. This is expanding it, giving them a wet lab. So they'll have space to not only catalog the items that they've found out in the field, but also to be able to bring those items back here and really kind of do the cleaning, the identifying, the classifying, and then also have classroom space as well. So you can be in the lab, then you can go into the class, you can go back and forth. So I think this is going to be an excellent opportunity for our archaeology program. And I just love that it's named after Kathy Deegan, who's one of our trustees and archaeologist emerita from the University of Florida. We also have moved the Learning Resource Center. So the Learning Resource Center is now going to be in the library, Proctor Library. And what is really great about this is the Learning Resource Center being in the library. I just think that's a great synergy, but it's also where our case office is, our advising office, and it's also where our Disability Resource Center is. So it's sort of a one-stop shop for students who might be needing help in the classroom, out of the classroom. I really think this is going to be an exciting move for that. And then the place where the Learning Resource Center was, which is another space beneath the dining hall is going to turn into our multicultural center. So we're going to have the International Center and the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Office all together with a lounge space for students to hang out and collaborate and just have sort of that space of their own. And then finally, we do have the dock, which I'm very, very excited about, being an outdoors person myself. The dock is going to be behind the FEC and ABEAR complex, and it's for kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. It's just going to be on the San Sebastian River. I think they're talking about doing other types of events out there as well. It's just we've been on the water, we just haven't had the ability to access the water, and we're surrounded by it. And so I'm so glad that we finally have this opportunity for our students to be able to take kayak trips on the San Sebastian, and then for our coastal environmental science students to be able to go out there to do research as well. So I think this is going to be a great addition, and I'm really looking forward to the activities that we have planned there for parents weekend, family weekend, orientation, and all throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm confident that our students will share your same enthusiasm, for all of these spaces once they get here, because it really is remarkable to walk around and look at it. So that brings us to our Q&A portion. I'm just going to ask the question, and whoever on the panel, wants to answer, feel free. So the first question is there a quiet study space in FEC?
Dawn, do you want to address what the Commons has? I think that's probably something that we haven't really talked about much.
Yeah, so the Commons is it is a great resource down at the FEC. It's connecting FEC to ABEAR, and it is a common area that has not only quiet spaces, but it also has our hospitality kitchen, which is a open kitchen for our students to utilize to cook. To also host events and programming if they're part of a club or an organization. But within the Commons downstairs, we also have a plethora of tables, chairs, areas for people to study, to get away from their room if they want to study in a different setting. And then we also have a beautiful outdoor area that has tables and chairs that we provide to ensure that if people want to study outside on a beautiful spring day or a beautiful autumn day, they have that opportunity. And then within FEC itself, we do have 3 main lobbies that also have those amenities, as well as courtyards in each of the in between each FEC tower that also will provide that space for them. And again, if they prefer outdoor study space.
Great, thank you.
And Carol, I forgot to mention when Dawn was talking about all the great outdoor space, we're also adding a fire pit to the outdoor space down at FEC Commons area. So I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous. There's a few questions here about the hotel. So is there maid service, an in-room safe? Will there be key cards or keys for the rooms? Laundry machines? And will the laundry machines be free?
Okay, I'll go ahead and address the hotel. As far as laundry, yes, there is laundry facilities in the hotel, but those are coin-operated laundry facilities. However, for the students that are housed at the Sebastian Hotel, they will have access to free laundry service in the other facilities throughout campus. As far as maid service, there is not maid service within the hotel in the residential wing. That'll be handled identically to how it is handled throughout the rest of the residential community. As far as access to the wing, you could either have a card access or a wristband access. So it's, high-tech security within that aspect of it, where it separates general guests from our residential community. We have our own separate entrance in there. There's ample parking on the south side where the South Tower is located. The only thing students will need to do is make sure their vehicles are registered and they have a Flagler decal affixed to their car.
Great. There are a couple questions about students being moved over to the Sebastian. I think maybe we want to chat a little bit about how there's going to be RAs in there. There's going to be, like, as in any of our residence halls, the security are going to be going. There's going to be the security who are doing the transportation shuttles or any other type of transportation. So maybe you
Yeah.
can talk a little bit about the security and safety aspect.
Yeah, the actual security aspect, the Sebastian will be treated no different than all our other residential facilities. The security teams make their rounds through our campus facilities. As they make the rounds through FEC and ABEAR, they make the same rounds through the Sebastian. We purposely decided to go with an outside shuttle bus company to ensure that we can get ample routes run, and the route will start at the Sebastian, then pick students up at FEC, followed by ABEAR, and then take them directly to the core campus where everyone will be dropped off right in front of the student center.
Great. There are some other questions about the Sebastian Hotel. So we do have a video that we'll share out so that you can really get an inside glimpse of the Sebastian and really have a better understanding of the space. But there are questions like, if you're apprehensive about moving over there, is there a way to appeal your move over to there? And so I don't know if anyone wants to address that.
Don,
Yeah.
you want to go ahead and do assignment?
Yeah, so for room assignments at this moment, I cannot change that. We are at a point where the people have moved. I will need to keep them where they've been moved to. We can always have a further conversation about waitlist later down the road after moving. But at this exact moment, what they can still do though, for upper class students who have been moved to the Sebastian Hotel, if they know of another upper class student, either an FEC or ABEAR, who is interested in swapping rooms with them, we can easily do roommate swaps. We are still doing room swaps up until the day of move-in. And so say John was moved over and Jack, who's an FEC, wants to move to the hotel, they can do a swap, and I can easily make that swap. The only thing I recommend, just like I would with anyone's roommate swap, is get to know the roommate they'll be moving in with. Because we did keep people together in the Sebastian with their roommates that they've had in FEC. And so just make sure that those roommates talk, make sure it'd be a good fit, since they would be leaving their other room.
Thank you. I think we've answered this next one, but it's a student who has, had their heart set on living in Ponce and wondering whether or not there might be an opportunity for that next year.
I'll go ahead and tackle that question. Those students who desire, say, a year from now to, whether it be return to Ponce or return to any of our facilities, we are still strategizing on the best way to make that happen. A lot of it's going to be contingent upon the timeline for getting all the proper work done in Ponce this coming year. And hopefully within the next month or so, we should come up with a plan for fall of 2023 and that sign up process for returning students.
Great, thank you. Somebody wants to know, when did the damage happen?
The water intrusion occurred the morning of the 4th of July. It was the only day that the entire building was closed. We even gave the contractors off on the 4th of July. And of course, the building being empty, there weren't any students in there. So it took approximately 2 hours before the water intrusion was discovered. And then we got the water turned off and then began to assess the damage and get the proper companies in to help extract the water out and dry the building out.
I was moved from Ponce to Lewis, but my original roommate is in a different room. Is there a way to fix this so that roommates can stay together? I think, Don, you kind of addressed that a little bit with the suite mates.
Yeah, so because I was only able to increase the occupancy by one in those rooms, I was not able to get roommates together, which is where I did my absolute best to get them. So they were roommates and sharing the bathroom. And if that was not possible, depending if it was a triple or a quad room in Ponce that they were moving to, I was able to get them on the same floor. And again, there is still the room swap option. If the new roommates would like to do that, we are more than happy to accommodate that. I just could not put two people in a loop. The maximum occupancy we have for that building is 3 per room.
Thank you. There are some questions about the meal plan and being down at FEC. Do you maybe, Don, want to talk a little bit about dining options across campus? So there is more than just the dining hall as a food option.
Yeah, so we do have 3 dining locations across campus. The Ponce Hall is our main dining hall. That is the swipe in and eat all you want, drink all you want, get all the food you want option. That is open 7 days a week for our students across campus, regardless of what residence hall they live in, or if they are commuter students. And so anyone who has a meal plan can swipe into that building, swipe into that dining hall. In our student center, we do have our bistro. Our bistro is where our Chick-fil-A, our Boar's Head, and our Starbucks is, as well as convenience store items. Those you can use your dining dollars for those, or you can use credit, debit, cash, whatever you may have. And then down in the Adair Commons, right next to our FAC building, we have the Pod Market, which is a mixture of both. And so you have your convenience items, your grab and go that you can use your dining dollars for, but they also have meal swipe options there that students can utilize once a day, where they can get breakfast or lunch or dinner, and grab those to go to bring to the room or to eat in our commons or eat outside, depending on where they want to go. And that would include a main dish, a side dish, and then a drink.
Great. There's some questions about move-in day. So when will students know if they have a new move-in day? How will they know if they're tripled? Do you want to go ahead and answer those?
Yeah, so we are honoring all move-in days that were already sent. And so if you were scheduled for the 19th at 9 a.m., that is when you'll move. We do not think it would be right to try to move-in dates for individuals at this point. And so your move-in date will stay the same. For triples, if you were placed in the Lewis or FEC, you are in a triple room. Ponce, they are varying, and so you can reach out to us individually if you were one of them who were placed in a Ponce West room, and I can let you know what that is. In touch of your roommates, my file will be up next Wednesday, the 27th, with your roommate information on there, so you can start reaching out and instructions on how to contact you.
There are questions about if you were in maybe a double and now you're in a triple, whether or not the price structure remains the same. Everett?
The pricing, we are looking at making adjustments into the pricing of those rooms by awarding students a stipend. And Deb, you may want to speak further on that.
Yes, obviously this situation is unfolding, but we do have some funds that are available and we're working through the exact amount that we will be able to provide. That will be something that will be addressed after the add drop period, because we want to make certain that we are able to help the students who were affected directly by this situation. It will be a one-time payment, and it will occur in September.
Great. What will the rooms at the Sebastian Hotel look like? Once again, I will send out to the people on this call a link to the video so that you can take a look at the video. But I mean, the rooms are really large. At the bare minimum, they're 550 square feet. There are a couple extra perks that those rooms come with, such as like cable TV and full-size beds. as opposed to twin size beds. But you'll be able to take a look at the video and see inside the rooms and the around the tower itself. We've answered that. Yes, there will be a shuttle provided from FEC. Is that correct? That will.
Yeah, yes, the shuttle will begin at the Sebastian Hotel. The first run starts at 7:15. Then it'll go to FEC, A-Bear, and drop everyone off at the Student Center just in time for the start of breakfast. And then the actual shuttle route itself, it'll start at 7:15. There'll be another run at 8:15, followed by 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m. daily. And then on weekends, 9, 11, 3, and 6. Anything after those hours, transportation will be handled through our security department as they've always done in the past.
Great. Don, there was a period of time, back earlier when you were breaking up and someone was trying to find some clarity. So I think that this is Lewis and not the hotel, but it says, is he saying that some of the students in the hotel may be in singles but suite mates? I think you might want to just kind of go through the Lewis suite mates again, just for some clarity.
Yeah, so the way Lewis is designed, they are suited Jack and Jill style. And so you will have 2 rooms sharing the bathroom. And so each room will have the 3 individuals in it. And then the bathroom itself will have the two sink vanity, the toilet and the shower that will be shared. And so what I was talking about with suite mates was if I was not able to get roommates together, I did my best to make them consider suite mates. So they were still sharing that bathroom area, still connected via those doors, even though they're not living in the same room anymore. And then for the Sebastian Hotel, it is 2 per room for our upper class students who are moved there. And they are not suited, it's its own bathroom within that room.
Great. There's a question about fire code and whether or not we're exceeding occupancy limits in the buildings by this condensing of students into the halls.
As far as fire code goes, I'm making the assumption, Carol, based on the way in which we've tripled rooms in the past and identifying the same rooms that were, that we utilized prior to 2017, we should be in complete compliance.
Yes, we've had the capacity to triple a number of rooms in all of our buildings. We have very few singles, and so that is not a concern.
If we were in Ponce and now moved to FEC Towers, where do we get our meal plans? I think we've covered that with all of the meal options. I was moved from Ponce into Lewis. Curious if there is a room to not have bunk beds and have all 3 beds unstacked. Don, do you want to talk about the options, I guess, that students have for that?
Yeah, so for both Lewis and FEC, currently we are arranging it so that the beds are bunked. That will give optimal space for our residents. Residents, when they are all together, may decide, I want to unbunk my beds. They are free to put in that work order and do that if they wish. As long as they all agree to how the room will be arranged with the furniture, that is okay. We just know that on move-in day, we will have it bunked to create that optimal space for everyone moving in, especially when you're moving in, you're bringing boxes, you're bringing a lot of trash that is going to be thrown away. And so we want to make sure that there's much room as possible.
Thank you. There's a question about waivers for living on campus.
For living off campus?
Yes, I'm sorry, off campus.
Okay, for the incoming students, they can reach out to our Dean of Admission, which is Rachel Branch, and her email is just R as in Rachel Branch at flagler.edu. She is away on vacation this next week, but she is checking her email, and we will work with those incoming students and get that process arranged for them.
Thank you. There are some questions about experience, like the experience of having rooms now tripled in, I guess, a quad, and whether or not that is a good experience for students. I know that we've done, like, this is something that we've done many times in the past. And so if someone wants to speak to the experience of that, that would be helpful.
I'll go ahead and start. I think it gives students an opportunity to further engage with other students that they may not have ever interacted with before. It helps get students that may be more of an introvert than an extrovert, to further engage. And, we're going to make it as positive an experience as possible through the financial resources that have been allotted to student engagement. We're going to do everything in our ability to ensure that every student gets outside their room and actively engages in all the activities that are going to be happening across campus.
Thank you.
And this is also a great opportunity to mention that we do have a residence hall association, in addition to our resident assistants who put on programming for our students within the communities. Both it may be a Lewis Hall community event, or it may be a campus-wide for all residents and students. And so we have two different ways in which we're engaging our residents. The RHA also serves as an advocacy board for our students. And so we do have representatives from every hall that come to meetings, come with our exec board, and discuss the ways in which we can improve the experience of our students living within the hall. And so we will be looking for representatives from the incoming class for Lewis, Ponce, Cedar, and FEC. And so that will be a great opportunity for those, or so as we're going through this in the next year, we can hear, okay, so this is a way in which we can improve the experience that we on the staff side may have. And so RHA is an excellent foundation to talk about that same experience and hear from the students themselves, on top of all the programming that our RAs do, on top of all the programming that our student engagement has as well.
Great. Don, I think this next one might be for you. It's about the process. So when back in the spring or late spring, when you're looking to pair roommates together, there's, students submit information so that they can be paired well. How did that play into this process that you just went through here this week?
Yeah, so I am very fortunate in that we have a software system that helps to prioritize the questions that were on that application and say, hey, this person would be good with this person. And so I went back through those records and did my absolute best to pair based off of priority items such as cleanliness, such as there was questions on, are you a night owl or are you a morning person? Where do you like studying? What is your ideal Saturday night? And I utilize those questions to best pair with their incoming roommates in their incoming room. Knowing nothing will ever be perfect, we did utilize that software system though. And I did not just say, oh, this person's going to go here, this person's going to go here. I did my best to pair them on who our software and who I believe would be most compatible with the
Yes. This next one is goes back to safety again and walking in the dark, concern about walking in the dark. And so I think we just need to reiterate that our students don't have to walk in the dark, that there is a shuttle that will run them from the Ponce over to FEC and back and forth, or the library over to FEC and back. So students do not have to walk in the dark. Question. Oh, was somebody going to? did you have something, Everett?
No, the only thing I was going to add to that, at any time, a student can call campus security and request an escort, and campus security will respond immediately. I think between the bus shuttle that we have and campus security providing the backup to that after hours, I think we're going to be in a very good position.
Yes. What about parking at the hotel? Anybody want to take that one on?
Sure. There's a parking space for each and every room in the hotel. We're also fortunate that the North Tower is rarely at capacity, so we will have the ability, to park additional cars there. And then literally right across the street from the hotel is FEC and ABEAR with our parking garage that is there for students as well.
Thank you. There was a question about whether or not we're going to continue to explore any other kind of, I guess, perks, since we haven't landed on a different word, for our students. I mean, I guess my immediate response is that we're always looking out for the best experience for our students. And so we're going to continue to find ways just to make sure that they're having the best experience possible. But others may have something that they want to add in also.
And I think, Carol, having the Resident Student Association and having, students really at the pulse of fellow students, the Resident Student Association will bring information to us too, to ensure that, the additional perks that we may be able to provide, we're getting that insight directly from the students. It's not just, a group of administrators deciding, oh, this would be a good perk. We want to hear directly from the students.
And Carol, I was just going to add on to that's one of the great things about coming to Flagler is we do really want to hear directly from the students. All the sort of work that's been done over the summer is a direct result of feedback from the students of what they wanted. And so we don't claim to have all the answers and know exactly what's going to make the best. And so if somebody has an idea, we'd love to hear from them.
Somebody wants to know how they join clubs. So maybe some of those clubs that you're talking about, Don.
Yeah, so part of our welcome week, as well as just our general semester, we do have club nights. And club night during welcome week looks like tabling through the student center, through the West Lawn, where clubs from across campus will be out there advertising, hey, this is what our club is, this is when we're meet, this is how to get involved. And so that is a great opportunity during that first week. We will also have clubs and organizations volunteering for move-in. And so you'll see them wearing their little name tags that say what club or organization they're a member of. And they can help talk about, what does their club do and how can their students get involved. Another great resource is our student engagement office. They oversee all our clubs and organizations. And speaking with the staff in there, they can help get you connected based off, like, hey, I'm interested in this. Hey, we have a club for that. You can get connected via there. And then a final resource, I'm always going to plug our RAs. They are very well connected to campus. They are upper class students. They are highly involved in other clubs and other events outside of being a resident assistant. And so they are a great resource as well for getting involved in clubs.
And Carol, another way to really ensure the engagement of our students, our very first week of the fall semester, we will be hosting Welcome Week, where every club, every organization, every department on campus is going to be out on the West Lawn, tabling for student involvement. So there's not an excuse for not getting involved and not being engaged.
I do see a lot of questions in here about people trying to visualize what the increased capacity in the rooms looks like. And so I know that the FEC, we have a model that's been set up, and we showed pictures. So I will find a way, through this to get that out to everybody so that they can take a good look at that. Lewis House, that work is being done next week. And so we will go in and we will capture images of that to help you, really visualize what that's going to look like. We'll send out
Oh, sorry, Carol, just real quick. I think the new furniture for Lewis actually does not arrive until the very end of August. So I don't want people to think it's going to happen next week because Lewis is getting brand new furniture
okay.
as part of our work this summer.
All right. Well, I will figure out how to visualize that for everybody so that you can, kind of begin to imagine that in your minds. Send out the hotel link. And so hopefully through all of this, you can begin to kind of see that there is space within these rooms for this to happen. There's enough living space. Everyone will have their, their desk and, closets and like there's space within this. And so I will work to get as many images as I can out to help families with this.
And Carol, I'm going to switch roles. Can you tell us where those will be available? Where can students and parents look for those?
Yes, so I will send it out via an email, but then they'll be housed on the flagler.edu/renovation facts, FAQs. And so I'll house them there, but I will send that link out again in an email, but great point, thank you. Will there be a desk and a dresser for each person in the room at the hotel? Don?
Can everyone hear me? I know there was some issues with my microphone. Okay, perfect. So we will have desks, dressers, and the beds for the residents. We are bringing in an additional dresser. There is also the built-in dresser drawers that the hotel does have. And then we do have a student desk for the residents, as well as the rooms already have, again, a desk in there. And then the 2 beds, and then the closet for the residents.
Okay. We had a question asking whether or not the hotel is maxed out or all the space is taken in the hotel.
Yes, and across campus, we are at 100% capacity in all of our residence halls.
And Carol, if I can also add in regards to the Sebastian Hotel, we have rooms within the hotel that are designed. We can use them as study rooms, gathering rooms. So there's more than ample space for students to engage with each other, to study quietly, and to socialize.
Great. There are questions, which I think, Don, you addressed earlier about people swapping. So like the whole roommate swap and whether or not they know people that they can swap with. And so they just need to contact you and Residence Life if they have a plan to swap worked out, right?
Yes, and so say, for example, you and Laura were living together, but you really wanted to live with Deborah. If Laura and Deborah agree to switch rooms, I would just need an email with both of them on it, and then I'll go through on my system and swap them. No problem. The important thing is it needs to come from your MyFlagler email, and it needs to CC the person who you're swapping with on the same email chain.
Great. How many are in a room at the hotel?
There are 2 per room in the hotel.
Yeah. And each room has a queen size bed in it. Those rooms are spacious.
Yeah, they are.
I just want to be sure everybody understands. Every room has 2 queen size beds in it for the students in the hotel.
To make it even more complicated, is it a queen or is it a double?
It is a queen. There are 2 queen size beds in each and every room that's made available to us. And again, it's all upperclassmen at the Sebastian. It's not first year students. And another beauty of the Sebastian Hotel, all the bathrooms are independent of each other. It's not a suite styled arrangement. So, every room has its own private bathroom.
So I'll just note that we will have to update our FAQs. I believe it does say a double on there. So just for everybody listening, we recognize that might be inconsistent with what you've just read, so we will change that.
Thank you. Will Flagler have kayaks for students to use?
Kayaks, yes, we do. We've got 17 kayaks available for student usage and a variety of paddle boards. And they will be stored on campus, and all students will need to do is go through a water safety program, and then we'll begin to offer the kayak instruction and tours. Same with paddleboarding.
Great. Is there a fitness center in the Commons that students reassigned to the FEC have access to?
Yes, we do have a fitness center within the Commons right next to our hospitality suite. And it is open 7 days a week. Campus Recreation will have information during Welcome Week on what those specific hours are. And then students can also utilize the fitness center in our campus service building, which is a little bit larger, but there's still a very good amount of space within that fitness center at the Hebert Commons.
Yes. Is Lewis male and female?
So all of our residence halls on campus are co-ed, but if you are in the same room or sharing a bathroom, it will be the same gender. But your next door neighbor who you don't share a bathroom with may be of the opposite gender.
Great. And so in all of our residence halls and the bathrooms, do students clean the bathrooms in the residence halls, and do they need to provide shower curtains, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, and etc.?
Yes, so residents are expected to keep their bathrooms as well as their rooms cleaned. They will need to provide toilet paper, a shower curtain. Highly recommend reaching out to your roommates or suite mates. So you're not showing up with 3 or 4 different shower curtains. You'll only need one. And then you'll need to provide a plunger and a toilet brush just to keep the toilet nice and clean, as well as hand soaps and all of that.
I'm seeing several questions about move-in dates. So can you clarify if those have gone out, how they've gone out, and if not, when they'll be going out?
Yeah, so we have a few different move-in dates. And so our primary move-in for first-year students are the 19th and 20th of August. Move-in slots were emailed out to residents at their MyFlagler email. We do have early arrivals, some for academic clubs, some for music groups, some for athletics. If you were sent an early arrival, your room will be ready by your early arrival date. So you do not have to push that back. If you were in Ponce East and you were moved to a different hall that may show a different move-in time slot, we are going to honor your original move-in time slot. For upper class students, move-in is the 21st to the 23rd between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And so if you are in the Sebastian Hotel, you could show up on the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd to move into your room. And you'll go directly to the hotel for that.
Thank you. So you had mentioned to me about in Ponce odd and even numbers. Was it odd or even numbers that were impacted?
Yeah, so Ponce East is our odd numbered rooms. There are the only ones that are odd numbered that were not impacted were the ones that were in sort of that central area between the two halls. And so the 301, 293, and 295, as well as 397 and 399 were not impacted. And so those rooms are not being moved because they were outside of the east wing and they're in a central area.
Will athletes still be able to move in early?
Yes, the coaches have submitted to me a list of athletes who are approved to move in early. And we will be sending out emails next week regarding early move-in for athletes on the 6th. And so as long as you receive that email, you will be good to move on that day and your room will be ready and we will be excited to welcome you home.
All right, I'm just scrolling through to see what we have not yet answered.
Carol, there might need to be a little comment, and maybe I missed it, about rooms that we were planning to have as doubles and now we have converted them to triples. Will there be wardrobe, closet, everything for 3 people in that space?
Yes, and so we do have wardrobes that will be put into every room. Some of the rooms, Lewis and FEC, have 2 built-in closets, but now with 3 individuals, we will have a wardrobe provided for them, so that they can still utilize that. The wardrobes are comparable in size to the closets, and they have a curtain rod in them, as well as drawers on the bottom for students to put their items in.
All right. Looks like we have answered. I'll go over to this place, but looks like we've answered most of these. Let's see if I want to make sure that we get, you've taken the time to be here, so I want to try to answer as many as we can. Can you clarify how many students are going to be in each Lewis room?
Yes, there will be 3 students per Lewis room, and the bathroom we shared with 2 rooms, so 6 people.
All right. It looks to me like we have covered the majority of all of the topics. We're going to continue the conversation. If you have any follow-up questions, Don is a phone call away. You can reach him via email is probably the easiest at residencelife@flagler.edu. I will work on getting, I've seen, once again, as I continue to scroll, a lot of questions about the dimensions of the rooms and how those are configured. So I will work to make that information available to you and put that out on the FAQ site so that it is a resource for you. And we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today, to ask your questions. And we hope that you'll continue to communicate with us. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out. We're really excited for the fall semester, and we're really excited for our students to come back. It's just, a whole different level of excitement in the air when they're here. And so we're really excited to welcome them back. And we look forward to seeing our families on move-in weekend. Like, it's one of our very favorite weekends. And so while we know that this was unexpected, once we get the school year started, it's going to be a really great year, and we're super excited about that. So please keep in touch, and we will be in touch with more information. And enjoy your weekend. Thank you. Take care.